overview of the three pens that I'm really looking at in detail here. We're looking at the Zig Memory System Ballpoint Squeeze and Roll. We're looking at the Martha Stewart Ballpoint Tip Glue Pen, and one I've used before, the Creative Memories Precision Point Adhesive. Now, just so you know, this is part 2 of our review. There'll be a link to part 1 at the end of this video so you can get the whole overview of the glue pen comparisons. But the reason why these three are going head to head is because they are remarkably similar. Notice that each one has a ballpoint tip. Each one has a barrel with a squeezy valve, and all three of them are certified non-toxic. As a matter of fact, I have to wonder if they aren't even made by the same company, especially the Zig and the Martha Stewart. So here's the first thing we're going to do, and that's just take a look at how it writes on some white paper and black paper, because I've noticed that 2 of these are tinted and the third is not. So let's start with the Zig. And in order to make it work, you just gently squeeze the tip to get the glue flowing. So you do have to squeeze and push at the same time. If you don't, you might get nothing coming out. So you do need to have the squeezy motion. Next, this is the Martha Stewart. Notice again, it's blue. It's easier to see on the white paper, but it is blue when it's wet and it dries clear. And this is Creative Memories. On the black paper, it almost all looks identical. So next, of course, is what happens when it's dry. So let's take a look at those swatches. These samples have been drying for about 15 minutes now, and as you can see, they're almost all completely white. Now, one of the things you're going to want to know is that even after they are clear, they are still sticky. So this is actually like a two-way glue in that you can either use it as a glue immediately, or when it's done, it's tacky. Why is this important, you ask? Well, I'm going to show you. If you want to do something then like applying a foil, you can go ahead and apply a Mylar back foil. I also have a whole video about Mylar back foils if you need some more information on that. But look what happens. You can actually just apply it down, buff it, and boom! You get instant foiling, which is pretty awesome, right? The other thing you can do is add glitter after the fact. So say you don't want it to be super clumpy or you're worried about it, you can add glitter and then brush it off, because I need a little anti-static action here obviously, but it will stick securely. Look, even if I burnish it down even more, look at that. It stays really, look how hard I'm rubbing with that, and the glitter is staying on. So that is a great benefit of these types of glue pens. So let's take a look at some other swatches. Here's one that I had done before, again with the Zig, and I used flocking, glitter, and then foil. And as you can see, all three have held up well. I did these actually over a week ago, and I don't see any breakdown. They're holding nice and strong. Okay. I actually added this glitter when the product was wet, because I wanted to see how puffy it stayed or how much it shrunk. And there is a little bit of shrinking. You don't get such a fine line if you apply it wet. Actually, if you apply the glitter after it's dry and tacky, you get a better, smoother line. But it holds. So if you're using glittery accents, you can use all of these glue pens for that purpose. Now, let's get a little Tug Test going. This is about 3 hours old, and maybe I would let it dry a little longer just to make sure, but in the efforts of time, I thought I would just check and see. So this, I applied all this while it was wet. Now, here's the thing. It came through the holes a little bit, and so it is sticky. And watch what happens. If you, if you smudge, if you slop, what's going to happen is this. Other things are going to stick to it, like cat hair and dust and even wayward glitter. So make sure you don't slop. But, well, none of them are going to be, well, that's pretty good for the organza. For the puffy ribbon, I think the Creative Memory still held the best. Now we're going to go on to some other flat embellishments. Okay, so here's our last swatch test. And again, I'm using craft cardstock and some nice flat embellishments. So again, this has been about 2-3 hours old, and let's just check the flick test for the zig. Oh wow, everything is holding really aggressively, which is great. Now you will notice if you just put it on the paper, it will, again, dry tacky, and it will create a color on your paper. So this is something you need to know. For the Martha Stewart, again, super aggressive. Everything holding nicely. And then comparing it to the Creative Memories, which is kind of my favorite, which is also discontinued, unless you can find it on eBay. So it is comparable. Now let's try this is a new test I just came up with. Like, what happens if you bend it? And the answer is they all hold, which is great. So at the end of this, my evaluation is that the Zig and the Martha Stewart ballpoint glue pens are practically identical, if not exactly identical, because I don't know who makes the Martha Stewart brand. So really, the question is, which is cheapest and most available where you are? Because either of them are kind of interchangeable. Of course, the Creative Memories is discontinued. You can still find it on eBay and some websites. But at the end of the day, if you can't find this, you can use this and all will be well in your crafty world. So I hope this was helpful to you. Please take a look at the end card for those other links I mentioned. Thank you so much for watching and have a crafty day.